Hey! Woo. Oh yeah, the static always gets
Yeah, I was coming out of my speaker, so I was like, shit, did I forget to is there like a game running in the background?
Yeah, I don't know if it was extra loud or if my hearing's just super wonky today, but
It
let us
might
know
be.
in the chat. It's more abrasive than normal.
Yeah, I do.
Welcome everyone to episode 20 on Bad Internet Friends podcast, where we decide to yammer on about starting a wargame project.
Yeah, sort of. Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if there's any new faces in the chat, or even if there are faces in the chat at all. It might be
Yeah.
the Lone Rangers.
There's at least 4 stalkers. One might be you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I have it watching, so there's only 3 technically. But they do say in order to be successful, you have to be your own biggest fan, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I am gonna like and subscribe after the episode.
Nice. Everyone should like and subscribe after the episode.
Yeah.
Or even during. Yeah.
You can even do it in advance. If you're just confident this is going to be great, you should just hit that button that way. I got screwed on that on eBay once. It's one of maybe 3 times ever I've been screwed on eBay, where I left feedback for something after getting the box from the post office, and then it turned out it was nothing anywhere near what was advertised.
No.
Yeah, you couldn't go back and undo it, so it's fuck. So now I wait until I've actually at least unpack the thing.
Yeah.
But usually I have good eBay. People always talk about how they've been cheated and scammed and stuff, but the only times I ever get cheated is when have you ever had this where you bid on something and you win it for dirt cheap, and then suddenly the auction is closed out, and you get email saying, oh, there was an error in the listing or something. You don't get it because you got your thing for $1 and it was supposed to be worth 100.
Oh yes.
Oh, okay, and then they relisted identically half an hour later.
I haven't ever been burned, but I did buy something that wasn't guaranteed to work, and I think it was guaranteed not to work, honestly.
Yeah, if there's any questions at all, especially for electronics, you should just assume it's the worst possible.
Yeah,
I have gotten some gadgets that didn't work, but I couldn't tell at the time because it was retro computer stuff. So there's
exactly
a 50% chance it's actually just because your hardware is shit, and a 50% chance that the thing you paid for was broken. So I didn't even leave feedback on those. I'm such a dork because it's the same if you go out to eat. If there's any of those survey cards or something, you have to literally pour my food on the floor for me to give you less than a 5. And even then, if it looked like an accident and you still get it, I'll still give you a 4.
Yeah. Back in the day, you had to say you have to earn your 5 stars, and now we say you have to earn your 4 or below.
Well, part of it was when I was working when I was being a supervisor, because I realized, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere else, basically as far as your pay or bonuses or whatever, the only thing that counts is a 5. If a customer gives you a 4, they may as well give you a 0, and I'm sure it's the same for everywhere else. So now, unless the person is and then it's the waiter brings your food and the food isn't that good, but your waiter didn't cook it, that's some asshole back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So is it even worth?
Poor lad just sitting back there sweating.
Yeah, probably sweating in the food. Yeah. That's why it's so fucking salt all the time when you buy restaurant food.
So we're gonna say hello to a new face before we begin. DM Riga. Hello.
Hey. Oh,
Small Batch Ninjas Games. Whoa, 2 new faces.
2 new faces. That is 100% more, I think, than the regular number of faces.
Yes, it's been a long time since we've had new faces.
Yeah.
I feel pressure now, for sure.
I know. Now we have to do that. They're all fired up, oh my god, we're gonna learn amazing insights about hobby gaming, and it's just gonna be dumb bullshit.
Well, maybe they've listened to us before, though. They just never made it on live, so they know what to expect.
Well, this is true. That's what we're gonna tell ourselves. So I guess our topic was, and so normally, just for the new faces. Now I'm getting self-conscious. You have to explain everything. All right. So the way this works is that we have cameras that point to our faces, and then we talk into them, and that's how it works. So, if you get confused, you can slow down and rewind a little bit and see it again. The topic's gonna be a little freehand because Dave isn't feeling super well. So we're just gonna but we're gonna sort of circle around like starting new projects and how that kind of goes on. I actually got to thinking right before we like hit the button because I was gonna ask you like if somebody asks invites you to because you started playing Mordheim recently, right?
Last fall, yeah. So I mean, I played it when it came out, and then I joined a league last fall.
Yeah. So now, did you already have stuff sitting around that was like Mordheim suitable? Like some goblins and dudes with swords and stuff, or did you have to like go digging around, or did you end up buying like new minis for it?
Well, I was able to jump in at the exact point in time of Warhammer history where the market was saturated, especially on eBay, but it was a low demand. So Age of Sigmar had come out, 7th edition Warhammer 40k was out. So miniatures were very cheap to grab, so I just kind of grabbed a spattering of everything.
Yeah. So you had like stuff sitting around in boxes.
Yeah, exactly. I was good.
So let's say you didn't have that. Like you get invited to play Mordheim and you don't have any stuff sitting around. Maybe you only play 40k in Battletech, so you can't really bring your like Warhammer mechs to a Mordheim game, I'm told.
Yeah.
Like, what's like the barrier for you to like go out and buy new stuff to play a specific game? Like,
I think it's acceptance overall. I mean, especially if you've never really played a game with other people before, and you think you have to buy the official stuff, and then now if you're going Mordheim, if you're buying official stuff, you're dooming yourself, really.
Yeah, but like, because I think for me, it's like there's like a mental barrier around like $50. Like, if $50 will get me at least like kind of started, then I'm pretty likely to like jump into something. Because then it's like, okay, if nothing else, I'll have like fun with the minis. Maybe they'll be useful for something else. But if the buy-in is like $300 to build, I don't know how much. I think you can build like a 40k army for $300 if you're like pretty judicious with like eBay and some of those box sets.
Not sure. Yeah, I mean,
they
kind of
like,
make it tricky.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like sometimes the big like army boxes are like bananas good value, but then you realize that it's on like 600 points or something.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there's like and I don't know what it is for people. Maybe it's also just because I played like so much 15mm sci-fi where $50 will like basically just like that's all you're gonna spend, But it feels like that's kind of like if it's too much past that, then I start like really asking. What really like trips me up for something is if I don't have any terrain that's suitable, and I know the person doesn't either. Because then it's because like the terrain I got is like sci-fi buildings and like some like nature stuff and some ruins and stuff. So, and that works for like 90% of things I want to play. So if it's something that requires like terrain that I don't have, then there's a pretty good chance that is going to be terrain that is like only for that specific thing. It's like the same reason I didn't really jump on to War Machine much because all the minis were like really cool. And like they're kind of spendy, but not like unforgivably so, not in comparison. They were fine for like 20, but they're like never going to see use outside of playing War Machine. And the people I knew who played War Machine, they wanted to play War Machine, and then it turned out what they wanted was somebody else to buy some War Machine army so they could play War Machine.
Yeah, exactly.
So we ended up not playing it, but I was looking at it back when it was like big, and like the minis are like so specific; they're hard to like get to show up somewhere else. Like if you buy,
especially back then, yeah,
it was like very specific, and there wasn't any like if you buy some, like if you get into Frostgrave, you buy a couple of those boxes, and then you decide you don't really want to play Frostgrave, but there's like a bunch of other fantasy games you can play with those same dudes.
So, Peachy's favorite 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, perhaps.
Yeah, that is. We have joked before that the Frostgrave and Stargrave boxes are basically the official 5 parsecs and 5 leagues box sets. So but yeah, it's like I think that's kind of because terrain ends up being like minis are easy to like store and stuff, right? Like usually, but terrain like eats up a ton of space. Often you have to build it, and buying terrain is like expensive. Like, so that's like the bigger barrier of entry compared to minis. I feel like.
Well, The only reason I ever got into minis is because someone else did all the legwork. Like, I don't know how I would have on my own. Well, I collected miniatures, but I didn't know what to do with them. Like, they're just role
Yeah,
playing
yeah, yeah.
miniatures. I just looked at
So,
them. I thought they were cool.
yeah, well, when I was living in Portland, I ran into like there were a bunch of people who were mostly RPG folks. They had played like a little bit of board games, a little bit of Magic the Gathering, but they either had never played Warhammer or anything like it, or they really didn't know like what miniatures gaming was. But they were all like happy to play, but they were except for like one person, they were all people who had like no interest in building or painting or collecting minis.
Mhm.
So it was basically more like a board game, where it's like, okay, come over to my place, I'll set it up, we'll play. I got spare like 2 World War II armies or whatever, and we would just play. And for them, it was more like it was more like a board game thing essentially. Like
Mhm.
like some of them keyed into. There's one guy I played Stargrunt with a lot. And he kind of got into the idea of like creating scenarios and stuff. But again, that was more
Oh
like
yeah.
on that side of things where we would agree, like, okay, let's try like, you have an APC and a bunch of dudes, and I have a couple of sniper, like just very simple. But like he keyed
Mhm.
into that part real easy. But I don't think he would ever have like gone out and like bought an army or anything.
Yeah.
There was like one dude I played with who like said like, oh yeah, he would kind of wanted to get some minis, and then he realized that they don't come painted.
Yeah.
So there's like a high. I've often said, I think we've talked about this before too. There's a lot of people out there who like would be into miniatures gaming, but they end up not, either because they think it's really expensive, because they think it has to be like a giant like 40K army, or because they are really intimidated by like painting 1,000 fucking dudes, or
Mhm.
even like building a bunch of dudes. Like I remember getting the, what was it called, Betrayal at Calth or whatever, the
Mhm.
like boxed board game they did. It was a cool board game, but like everyone was just buying the box to get the Space Marines.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, if you're a board gamer buying this thing, you're looking at like a whole, I forget how many, like 30 different Space Marines, all of which are like 7 pieces each, and you have to glue it all together before you can even play the game. Like that's a huge barrier of entry if you're coming from like a board game mentality where you just take the stuff out of the box. Like there's board gamers that like paint their dudes, but those are like one piece. You're not like assembling like multi-pose figures and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, which like a lot of these like I hear all of these like low figure count warband games are big right now. That's what I've seen on the internet.
I'm gonna type something in just so I can remember. Future show topic: best and worst starters.
Oh, that was a great one.
Because I was just thinking about the Robotech RPG Tactics starter as
Oh my
one of the
god.
worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, I watched you like assemble some stuff, and it was like pretty gnarly. I heard like, was it the Centrati ones weren't too bad, or
No,
was it
not
the
too
other
bad.
way around? Oh, okay. So, but you also need like
It's
a billion
yeah.
of those.
The Veritechs were literal mini kits, mini model kits. Every
Yeah, I don't.
piece was in 2 pieces. So if you want the lower forearm, you got to join those 2 pieces together and put the hand in there, glued to the elbow, which goes into the upper arm, which goes into the shoulder, which
Uh,
goes into the torso, which is a couple pieces. It was a nightmare.
yeah, like half the pieces are like literal slivers of plastic, and there's no guarantee. There's basically a guarantee that it will not all go together smoothly. I've
Mhm.
always heard the story that it was something with the license, that they technically didn't get a license to make miniatures; they get a license to make like model kits or something. But I've never been able to tell if that was true.
Yeah, because
Um,
the Zentradi weren't like that, so we don't know
mhm.
in the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There is those. What is the company? Kits Logic. Kit Logic. You
Yeah,
sent me a couple of those. Those are really cool. They're resins,
beautiful.
so you have to be like a little gentle with them, but they're like
Mhm.
awesome. And they're not expensive. I think they were like $10 a pop or something.
I think 20,
Yeah, maybe. I
maybe.
remember they were like not expensive for like a bespoke little
Yeah,
branded stuff. Like they're
well priced. Yeah.
yeah. They were like because you only need like a couple of them. So
Just want
it's
to touch base. DM Riga said they really loved the concept of War Machine, but the same boat never got into it. And
mhm.
I think it lacked a really good starter, didn't it, for a while?
Yeah, I think there were a couple of boxes, but part of it too was it was a little hard to maybe I was just stupid, but it was a little hard to like figure out exactly what you're supposed to have. Like you
Yeah.
needed one of the big robots, you needed a wizard, and then you needed some dudes. But it's kind of hard to tell if you needed like multiple squads of dudes and one big robot, or if you needed multiple robots, or like it was also like super like tournament oriented, so it always had that feeling of like you have to get like a very specific size and type of army to like play, because it was very like you're
There's
supposed
100% wrong answers.
yeah, well, that's the thing too, is like you buy a bunch of stuff, then you realize that your stuff sucks ass. Like not
Mhm.
even you picked an army you didn't like, you know, like everyone has done. Like you, like I remember wanting to play Blood Angels in 40k because that's what was on the box, and then I realized I didn't care about Blood Angels at all and didn't want to play them. But that's like one thing. It's something different entirely if you realize that you just hate how like that army plays, and now you have the wrong. So yeah, it's I guess back in the day, because I know they had a whole thing for like organized. They had like people that were supposed to like teach you in the stores and stuff. That only helps you if you live near a store,
Mhm.
and if you are playing, you know, like if you live near a store that has one of those dudes, and that dude is not like a raging asshole. If you're like two or three guys who are just looking to order some stuff online and start the game, then it becomes a little more difficult. Those are all things you can like solve, you know, having better onboarding resources. There was somebody who said the other day, or a while ago, time is a loop, that one of the things that was really like missing in a lot of books is showing you like what a starter, like a basic starter army should look like, because then you can see up front like how much stuff you're supposed to be getting, dusting off the shelf, right?
Yeah. Or the ones that provide like a list. It's like, okay, this is our rule book, and this is what you should start with. You should have
Yeah.
this army, and this is this many points, and this is what it can do. And you should play against this army because this army is different in this way, and it's this many points, and they can do different things
Yeah.
that are different from the other one, and you learn how to work together, beat each
And
other
it's
up.
one of those things that's like easy to like forget, because you know it's self-evident if you've like played the game for a while, or you've worked with it or whatever, you've been promoting it or wrote it or whatever the case. Like that stuff is all like internalized, you know.
Mhm.
Like I would almost bet you could probably do this as like a test, like the lamest game show ever. If you took like a bunch of Warhammer guys and put a whole bunch of minis on a table and told them, but like to eyeball, it would basically be like Price is Right. You have to pick up 1,000 points of guys, and whoever gets closest to 1,000 points wins, right?
Oh,
They could probably do that like perfectly, or at least like get really close. But if
Mhm.
you're brand new, you don't really have that sense of like how this stuff all like. If I go out and buy like one Rhino and one squad of Space Marines, is that like a lot? I don't know. Like literally, it might be, but it probably isn't. I feel like I need more dudes. Zeron has a. Do you want to pop up his comment real quick?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's also a new face, I believe. Hello, Zeron.
Hey,
I definitely like games that have a starter box, even if I don't get them, just so I have that example force to get an idea of what to expect. Yeah, exactly. And then
yeah, that's a
DM
really
Reg
good.
also touched on that.
I think there's kind of two like types of starter boxes I've seen, because I've seen starter boxes that are like that, where they're supposed to be like either a playable little army or at least like a core that you can build around.
Mhm.
And I've definitely also seen starter boxes that were just like some random shit they probably had in the warehouse and were trying to
Yeah.
shift, so it doesn't fit together at all. I've seen both of those for 40k over the years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, you know, sometimes just getting a random box of minis is fun too. But yeah, like, and it's such an easy, like I said, it's such an easy thing to forget, because when this was released at Rokam, the guy was saying, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Why isn't that a thing? Like, the game has a points values, and you're supposed to build an army. So like, put an army in there. So it's definitely
Yeah.
something that you can do more with. One of the things I want to do is put together like a little 100-point or whatever army list for each of the armies in the book, just so there's like, because they always used to have that in like the old Codex books, right?
Mhm.
Where it was like in the back, there would be, sometimes it would be even like a whole thing where a guy would talk
Yeah.
about like how he assembled it. And,
Mhm. And like the 4th edition Undead book, that's the only army book I ever really read thoroughly. And it had like battles that, people actually fought with using the miniatures, like Empire versus Undead, and they gave the force lists, and you could build both sides, and you could recreate that battle too. And
Oh
I think
yeah.
that was amazing. Like, well, I don't have any of those miniatures, but it's a really cool idea.
There's a flip side to that. I forget if it's from this original Space Wolf Codex or something, where they had a battle report in there, but it was actually from like the previous edition of 40k. Was the weirdest thing because it was referencing like a bunch of rules and stuff that didn't exist anymore. I guess they just had like lying around. They were looking to make up like an extra 5 pages in the Codex or something.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. But it is I feel it's also, it varies a little bit because if it's a game, like a lot of, especially if it's like a commercial game, you're almost always going to be obviously expected to use like the correct and proper miniatures. But I wonder if there's almost like a reverse thing when it comes to like generic or like agnostic miniatures rules, because a lot of times with that crowd, you get people who have like very specific things they want to be able to use. So it's like, it doesn't matter that the book says that I should start with this. What I want is to use my like mechanized hover tanks, like platoon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 hover tanks and 30 infantry and a giant robot, and I want to use all of that. So it's like, it's kind of the opposite problem of where you have to kind of like anticipate what people are going to want to use in the game, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that. I can't remember which rule book I read that in last, but there was like a time where it's very fashionable to say you should just grab 2 forces you like the look of, and then, agree with your opponent. Does it look like these guys could beat one another?
Yeah.
I think I stand a chance against you, and it turns out when you play the rules, it's like nothing close. It's not close.
Yeah, it can, especially if you don't like understand. Like, if you take 2 armies where like, like my army happens to have a bunch of missile launchers, and we're playing a game where missile launchers are like completely overpowered. So you might run into, or you're trying to like build something like in a game where you can like stat up your own dudes, but you don't really know like what the baselines are. So you end up completely breaking the game because it turns out like having a dude with like that much armor is just like impossible, or it's supposed to be reserved for like, yeah, we've definitely had back in the day. There was this game called, I think, Tactical Strike. It's one of those games that exist on the internet for like half a year. I think they got sued by Games Workshop for producing like knockoff replacement parts or something.
Oh yeah.
So this was back before like you could kind of get away with that. But it had this thing where you could like design stats for your stuff. So a friend of mine decided he had seen some movie and he wanted to make like the characters from that movie. So he just gave them all like the highest stats you could, and that completely broke the game because they just like the game was just not intended to like to work that way.
There's a lot of games though that are, the box set is 2 forces. One's a horde and one's elite. I'm like, I'm just kind of sick of the horde versus elite, like, and the elite is always like, if you go into like the actual game rather than just the starter game, like the points value of the elite army is like way higher than the horde army. The horde army never had a chance. You have to work so hard to build this stupid army that's never gonna have a chance.
Yeah, you start off with a bunch of like goon monsters that like it turns out you need like 100 of them for it to make a difference. Riga's saying 1-page rules is fantastic about generic menus. They have the whole line, but they accept and encourage proxies from everywhere. So yeah, well, so that's the other part, right? Like some of that is obviously with OPR, that's like built into like how the game works. But it's also a thing where depending on the people you're playing with, because I played back when I played 40k, I played with people who were like very keen on like everything had to be like official minis, and I played with dudes who like really didn't give a shit. Like and I played, when we were really broke, I played the games with the Coke can dreadnoughts and stuff like that. But that's probably a step too far for most people. But like
2 thick arms, 2 thick legs.
I knew a guy who made a orc dreadnought out of like a roll of toilet paper that he painted in like black with orc runes, and then he glued like arms and legs on it. And like at a distance, it looked like a dreadnought, but when you look close, it was like it looked terrible because it's like
the old 5 feet rule. Yep.
It looked fine from the other side of the table. When you look close, you realize it was just like a black tube with like Eldar weapons glued onto it. It looked terrible. So, but it only had to work a little bit. But like if you have, I was gonna use an XM, but then I realized it was an XM from a game that nobody's played for like 20 years. I don't know. But if you had back in the day, I guess, if you had like a bunch of like Imperial Guard minis sitting around and somebody asked you to play like a Void with them, that's a game people play still, right?
Oh yeah, it's super popular.
Yeah. Flying off the shelves. That's why you can't buy it anyway. You know, like you can push your dudes into service, right? Like when I got taught a friend to play Stargrunt, our first battles were like a box of Cadian shock troops that I had bought, and then a bunch of his old like Warzone minis, and that worked fine.
Yeah. If you're not afraid to proxy, you can do so much in life.
Yeah. Or like get close enough, right? That's one of the benefits of like 15 millimeter is that there's usually aren't official rules. So like what it is in your head is basically like whatever it needs to be.
You can't WYSIWYG if you can't see it properly.
Yeah, this is true too. If the dude is 15 millimeter and he's over there, I'm gonna say he has a fucking sword. What are you gonna
if you can, nothing.
Yeah. What are you gonna do about it?
Zeron was saying they lost more than one minis game because they wanted to WYSIWYG, basically. And it was not optimal.
There's like the other side to that too of like forgetting like who has what gun.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes what you get is like easier because, or you're playing. There was a guy I used to play with when I was in high school who had this thing of like, it was always like pretty hazy, like which character had which weapon. And when he checked the army list, it always turned out that it was like the right guy who had it. Like, oh, that dude is the one with the extra special grenade or whatever, who happens to be like in the right position. Funny how that works. So like stuff like that gave a lot more appreciation for what you see is what you get.
Oh yeah. I've been confused in Mordheim too. Like when people proxy things, it's like, this is my Gashapon from Japan. It's like, okay, but I don't remember anything about these guys. I'm like, I'll fight him, but I don't know what he is or what he's going to do.
Yeah.
It turns out he's a murderer.
Right?
Damn murderer.
The only game we were ever 100%, which is what you get, was Blood Bowl. Now you could bring like a Warhammer guy that was converted, but it still had to be the right guy. Like some of my Skaven were actually like, I think they were actually more time Skaven that lost their swords. So it was the easiest way to get some plastic Skaven. But like that was, for whatever reason, that was just the game. Maybe it was because we only needed like 12 guys, but that had to be like exact. Anything else, we would let you get away with murder. Although we played so many like tournament games at the time that most people like had stuff anyway that was like passable. Like if you're going to be clever, you had conversions or, you know, some old Road Trader minis back when you could still order them. But yeah, so it was just kind of a different vibe. But I guess nowadays when I look online, like you almost get like two different groups because you get like a lot of the like 40K players don't convert very much at all. And I really don't see for some of the other games that are kind of like big right now, I don't see people really converting very much at all. And then you have like the Inquisitor 28 guys and stuff where like everything is converted, like absolutely not. It's almost like nothing is allowed to be like off the shelf. Like even if you buy like a special mini, you have to like bash it out a little bit.
You lose street cred if you just use off the shelf.
Yeah. Because then there's another guy who has the exact same mini, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to shout out Mini Warmut for a sec. He's doing a great 5 parsecs campaign on YouTube right now, so definitely check that out. He's running. He's got like a lot of friends in the group chat, so he's running like 2 crews, and the people are making kind of decisions for what's going to happen with the crews, and then he plays them out on them. That's really good. Yeah,
I think we'd come up with the term social solo for that, where you play a solo game, but it's not really like you're not really alone. Whether it's like sharing it on a blog or doing something like that, where it's like multiple people feeding into the same game, which is really cool. It's like, it's one of those things that like, honestly, I never like anticipated. Like, I don't have like, I'm not like a visionary guy when it comes to like people figuring out like unusual ways of playing the game. Like they surprise me as much as anyone else. So like some of the stuff that people have come up with is like, wow, yeah, that's really cool. You should totally do that. I definitely plan for you to do just that thing.
It is as I have foreseen. Yes.
Yeah, see, a better designer than I would insist that it was like the plan all along. There was a thing in I think Doom 2 had a secret thing in a level where it took something like 25 years for somebody to figure it out, and only through like the most it was very obviously like exploiting like a glitch to like get the secret to finally like trigger, so you could complete the level with 100% secrets. And when somebody like mentioned it to like John Romero on Twitter, he was basically pretty obviously pretending that, oh yeah, that's what we had planned all along. Like, no, you didn't. That was bullshit. Now that's one of the things that's becomes interesting with like people picking there, because I've seen a lot of people picking out their first like 5 parsecs crews, and like you can tell, like there's obviously people who are just kind of looking to get like some minis. Like I need 6 dudes and I need to be able to tell them apart. And other than that, it doesn't really matter that much. But a lot of people, like, I don't know if people are doing the thing where they like pick the minis and then they like kind of keep rolling until they get a crew that fits them, or if they like roll the crew and then they go like kit bash something or get minis that kind of fits, because a lot of them look like very, very particular.
Yeah, for me it was a little A, a little B. Like there's some guys I definitely want to see, so I'll make it, I'll make it work. After I roll up the crew, I'll decide, okay, these guys match these ones the best. And the other ones you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just look through my collection now, drag something out of the lead pile.
I mean, you can get like a pretty big amount of leeway. You got 2 guys with pistols, you got 1 dude with a big gun, you got 1 dude, who just looks kind of weird. So when you get a weird character, he can just be that one.
Now, if he had written in the rules that you must WYSIWYG, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where once you have like enough fans that are rabid and manic enough, because then you start doing complete bullshit, like come up with aliens that nobody has minis for. Like in the next expansion, I think I put in like living crystal dudes and plant people.
Yeah. I love those guys.
Yeah. So which like there's no minis for. But that was also one of the things, because I remember we had talked about it with like the editing guy when Parsecs was being like ironed out, about like how it was fine, like that some of the options, because this was something I really wanted, was that there should be some options in the book that you're kind of like meant to go and like build a mini for or convert something for. Because, like a lot of them for Parsecs are like, space dudes with space guns. And for Leagues, it's like dudes with swords. Like, everyone has lots of stuff for that. But there should be a few things that you have to kind of like go out of the box a little bit. Like, like everyone bought up. I like to think that like the Frostgrave guys saw like an increase in the sale of like boxes of gnolls, because that was the only way of getting posable figures with like canine like features.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that there's something you kind of like have to go out and like find something for or build something for, because it makes it more interesting. You have a mini that is now like uniquely yours, like you built it, and then it dies like in the first battle, because that's how it is. Spend like, I sometimes worry, like I see some of these dudes who are like building up and converting like a whole squad of guys and painting them and come up with names and backstories and all this stuff, and then like those guys might die like literally their first outing.
Or worse, you get the character event where they change their appearance.
Thanks.
Like, thanks, Ivan. Just finish this guy. Now he has to look completely different.
Well, yeah, that one is in there like specifically for the purpose of people who like do take like what you see is what you get, like seriously, Like I never expect, in my mind, I assume people were not gonna like hack up models when they get like a different gun or something. I'm sure there are people who do that, but that was never like the intent. But I did sort of assume that people would like make changes to their models like while they're playing, based on like what is happening. But I don't know if that's like a thing a lot of people do.
I tend to just kind of equip the characters based on their miniature. So if they have like a shotgun, I'm like, well, that's reasonably a shotgun, or maybe even some sort of blaster or something. But I'm not gonna give them like a pistol or a hyper pulse rifle or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing of making it like stick to the, like if you have one guy with a big ass gun, 2 guys with rifles, and 2 guys with like swords, that sort of like determines who gets what. Like, okay, I guess I can only have one big ass gun. And if I find like a plasma rifle, it has to be one of these 2 guys. So it's sort of like, it also like helps not get like, I have 100% when doing playtesting like gotten mixed up of like, okay, the guy that I thought had a shotgun only has like a pistol that's out of ammo. So you can definitely like run into issues with that.
We do have a 5 parsecs question.
Oh yeah.
DM Rega was asking if people want their folks to live longer, just give them 1 luck to begin with, make it more high fantasy.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can also just like jag up like the toughness of everyone by like 1 point. Some people feel that like 2 and 3 toughness to start is a little too low. Like the thing is, because the game engine is like so simple, like if you stripped out like the explanations, I think the core combat rules probably fits in like 2 pages. There's really not much there, which makes it like really easy to hack and mug around with. Like I have tested it out where everyone like can survive 1 hit automatically, and that worked fine. I haven't put that in the book anywhere because it ran into some other issues that require different rules to deal with. But yeah, you can like one thing. This comes up a lot when people are asking, like, "Oh, I want to play the game with like 12 of my friends at a convention. Can I just give them like a quarter of a character each?" Like you can, but when like one guy dies, and that happens real easy, he's gonna like be sitting it out. So you might want to give him like a couple of guys or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that's, you know, you can, it's meant to be like pretty adaptable. People will there's been like some bizarre weird like modifications people have done too, so you probably can't break it.
I'll never forget the early days of the 5 Parsecs Facebook group, where someone was asking about making rules for interrogating prisoners.
Oh dear.
And like torture and stuff. It's like, that's definitely not in the rules, man. I mean,
oh yeah, you're that one you're on your own for. Like, come on,
man. we're not doing that here.
Yeah, like let's be. It's not like grimdark like for a reason. We're not gonna have the table for like depending on which thumbnail you're pulling out. Like, good grief, man. There was one email I got, and the guy was not like weird, but he was asking like, well, he was playing Weaseltech, and he was asking like, well, I have 2 characters who are now like in love with each other, because that's, you know, a thing that can happen in Weaseltech. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they're both straight. And I was like, I don't know. You're about to find out. Like, you decide, man. You know,
yeah.
Like it's anime. It could be whatever you want to. It's your story. It's kind of something. I had this. I'll do this. Like, this will be the last thing I do. Like, if I ever have like a falling out with Modifius or something, you will all get this expansion. It'll be a fan expansion, and it'll detail all the species in the 5 Parsec universe, and it'll have like, they'll be cross-referenced in like a big grid, and it'll tell you which ones can like canonically like fuck each other and which ones can't.
This is fatal.
yeah. Just to give people like, because this is the kind of thing like, when the more you step into like the RPG aspect of things, the more people like want weird. Like, I got an email once, somebody asking like the laser bolts, does Unity Troopers use like a specific color of like laser weapons, like the bolts they shoot?
Yeah.
Because you know, like in Star Wars, like you can tell the difference between if the rebels or the bad guys depending on their lasers. So, you know, like people want like answers to that kind of stuff. So,
what is the answer then?
I do not remember. See, that's the problem. Once you give the answer, now it's fucking canonical, and like somebody's gonna
they got screenshotted, or it's lost forever.
Yeah. It may be lost forever unless that dude wrote it. He forgot. He moved on. He's playing Frostgrave now because it's cooler. Or Stargrave. But, you know, well, and it's also like, especially with like canon, because there's like, last time I like pulled it before I left Facebook, the answer was, it was like a third of the players or something like that who like took the setting and like unified space and all that like very seriously. They wanted to know more about it. They want to have the characters like be correct in there. And there was like a third of them who like basically were playing like Star Trek or 40K or something else, or just wanted to make their own. A lot who did like Star Wars stuff. And then you had like another group, about a third, who were like kind of doing a little bit of both. So they would have like Star Wars characters, and then they will still have like the species from the book or something, like with it's like their own, it's like a mishmash of stuff. So you have to be like tread kind of carefully with like how much you nail down, because it's not really, it's meant to be kind of open-ended.
Yeah, until 4th edition comes out, where everything needs to be nailed down tight, because it is all WYSIWYG, and Modifius is releasing plastic kits.
Yeah. So
you're gonna need to buy a lot of them.
Yeah. I don't know if I can pretty sure I can't show pictures, but there are kits coming for some of the like main types. So there will be. Now I don't. These things take like forever to build,
Yeah.
but I know that like some of the common enemy types, there'll be some crew characters, which would be cool. But
People
it's
keep
also
asking me when Planetfall is coming out. I'm like, it's Modifius time, so maybe next year or something. Maybe.
Tactics was a full year from me handing over the final version until like it came out. So it just takes a while. Like
Yeah.
people forget that like the mini scaling part is like one small corner of their operation.
Mhm.
And like my part of that is like a corner of that corner of the operation.
Yep.
So stuff just takes a while. Plus, there's like one specific guy that like does most of the editing for me. He's super awesome. Like, if you can find anything in any of these fucking books, it's because of that dude, Rich. So you want that guy laying it out because he can turn my like complete nonsense into like readable, usable books.
He's better than family.
Yeah, it's funny how many people bring up like I think Peachy has mentioned this like 12 times on his
Yep.
channel that the book is color coded, which is not something I was smart enough to come up with. That was like something that they figured out. So if you
Yeah, I
like
would
stuff like
definitely.
that, you want the same guy like handling it. But yeah, so there will be real minis.
Okay. Do you have any other information? Like, are they going to be metal or plastic or
Uh
3D printed and sent out or
the
steel cast?
Metal, probably not. I don't even know if they do metal at all. The conversation was basically between like resin and plastic, and I think it mostly depends on like the numbers of like how many are you expecting to sell. Because my very limited understanding is that plastic requires a lot more upfront cost to
Mhm.
get going, and then the per sprue or per mini cost is pretty low, whereas resin is like very much cheaper to get going, but over the long run. So if you're looking at selling like some hundreds, you kind of can't do plastic. If you're looking into, I don't know how many like War Games Atlantic sell because they do plastic sets for like some pretty obscure stuff, but it must make sense for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
They did this Quar's War of all things. It was amazing.
yeah, I mean that's so like okay numbers. Like I see it pop up all kinds of places, but I don't see it like like it's still obscure. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I, it's possible that like the break even point is fairly low, and for a lot of companies, that's just not worth pursuing. Like unless you can actually turn a profit on it, it's hard to get people to like sign off on that. But
Yeah.
yeah, as
Though
far as I know, they have no interest in doing like metal.
it does seem like a good plastic kit. Print itself money basically with
Yeah,
the
there's a lot
longevity
of.
of it all.
I have definitely like seen people online say that they just if there aren't plastic figures, they don't want to like they don't buy resin or metal.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And the
definitely a
steel
thing.
cast is like the compromise. It's like not as expensive as plastics,
Mm.
but it has a little bit better production time and quality than resin, though not necessarily, as quality of a miniature. And you get a nice chunk of
Yeah,
plastic.
I feel like resin is at least last I bought. I feel like resin still has like sharper quality, or maybe
Oh
it's just
yeah.
easier to work with. I'm not sure. The thing that always kills me with resin minis is I'm always like terrified of breaking them.
Yeah.
And I know usually they're like pretty durable. It's not really that much. You can drop them on. And I have carpet anyway, so it's not like it would be an issue. Uh, but yeah, I just like really worried about them. Like the only thing I felt really comfortable with in resin was like those like flames when Battlefront used to do their tanks. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
hull
yeah.
would be resin. It's just like a block, and then all the pieces are like turrets and stuff are metal, or the barrels, which are
I actually like those
inevitably like
kits. A lot of people hated
bent.
them, but I loved it. I'm like, I like it that it's not all metal. I like the hull is plastic or resin.
Yeah, it worked super well.
Hmm.
Like I mean, I guess nowadays even they're doing plastic kits. So,
Yeah,
um,
they still do though the resin metal kits.
oh okay. So
Like
yeah,
if
they're
it's gonna be like an Italian tank that like a P90 slash whatever
yeah. Some of that
that
stuff
like
that nobody
yeah that would
buys.
never
See,
actually existed, and they're not going to sell very many of them. They'll just do a resin run and be done with it.
mm-hmm. Zeron says the only minis that have truly disappointed was my Victrix Romans Super Fragile. Yeah, see, that's what I always worried about, and especially for those. I assume those are 28s.
Yeah, with their little pilums.
Yeah, like that's the thing. every like once a year I look at like medieval or ancient era gaming. I was like, you know what, that would be really awesome. And then I look at like a battalion of dudes with spears that are all fucking bent in every which direction. Half of them are broken.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that sucks fucking ass.
Yeah.
So Torben, who is not here tonight, actually, was talking about, I think he was trying to get into a Baron's War, I think it's called, which is like from a cursory look, it looks like it's kind of Lord of the Rings for medievals, but that's fine. That's kind of like the vibe I was after. But I was definitely looking at just getting some like single piece like metal figures that are like clutching their axes and swords in very like robust ways. So actually, it's funny you mentioned Victrix because I have a bunch of their like 12 millimeter plastic World War II, and I don't know how many they sell of those, but they keep like churning out more kits of them, and they're like really nice kits too. They're like nicely detailed. They have a growing range. They started with all like the vehicles you got to do, like the Tigers and Panthers and Shermans and stuff, but like they are expanding it like pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to do North Africa as well, so maybe it's also possible that the barrier of entry for starting that has like come down over time, so it's easier to do now. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess nobody else is doing 12 millimeter doing plastic, so you can basically like corner the market.
Speaking of cool like plastic kits, War Games Atlantic have been doing 10 millimeter, like War Master style kits.
Oh yeah,
These are like a big sprue of orcs. And so you get like 3 sprues of these guys. It's like 274, I think. Dudes in here with bases, and it was like $50.
Yeah, Canadian. I was looking at those.
It's like, dang.
Because I keep thinking I want to build a couple of armies for hordes of the things. And that would be perfect for that. You can just churn out like a bunch of guys, and they look really nice from the photos I saw. So and and in the future there will be Squad Hammer Fantasy. Squad Hammer.
Squad Hammers.
Yeah, so there'll be something to use them on, and if you don't want to play hordes of the things, which you should anyway, but I feel like if you're a Squad Hammer player, you are probably not a guy who only plays one game.
But I mean, most people can't read hordes of the things.
This is true. Yeah,
I bought it. I tried to read it. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's actually like more readable than like DBM or DBA. You definitely have to like get into the vibe of like some run-on sentences, like if blades in open terrain and good order within a wholly distant from kind of stuff. Like it's like a beautiful example of like trying to overwrite things to like make them clearer, and in the process making it like more confusing. My cat is like wanting to get on the table. Do you want to be on camera?
Oh, hey. Very cute.
Yes, that's Lancelot.
Oh.
So that he's actually sitting on my printer. I can't print anything because that's where he wants to be.
Oh yes. But we had so much stuff to print.
I do print a fair amount because I have a laser. This thing has been on like low toner for like the last, I don't know, like a year, and it keeps printing.
It's old enough too that there's no chip in it, right?
Yeah. This one is like old school, so you can use because I bought whatever you call it, like aftermarket. They do say in all the like documentation, like you must only use certified HP printers, or a guy will come to your house and kill you. Yeah. He hasn't found where I live yet. We're fine. The
another day.
Hewlett Packard like death squad. See, now he's just showing off the camera or trying to bite me.
Lick bite, yeah.
Yes. That means he wants something.
Oh, probably some PDFs printed off.
Yeah. Do you want some wargaming? Good Lord, cat. Asshole. But yeah, cat cam, yes. So if I could, I would get the other 2 in here, but trying to get them all 3 in one place is basically like a friggin' miracle. And if they are, one of them wanders off like immediately. So Lancelot is usually the one who doesn't like company. But yes, when I'm working, he is sleeping on that printer right next to my desk. He just kind of, he comes in the morning, he settles in on the printer, and then he just kind of sleeps the whole day. If I go downstairs, he walks downstairs with me. back up. He comes back up. He follows me like everywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's. I feel bad sometimes because like I am kind of forgetful, and I will like forget. Like if I carry a pen around or my notepad or my phone, and I go to like get a glass of water or something, it will 100% be deposited somewhere in the way. So I'll come back up with my water and not my iPad or whatever, and I'll come back down, and he will have dutifully like followed me downstairs and back up, and then he will turn around and come right back down once he realizes that. Like he eats 12 cans of food a day basically, and he is still pretty skinny because he just like runs up the stairs like 8 times every single day.
Awesome. Cat exercise.
Yeah, it's good. They do say you're supposed to like give your cats lots of exercise, but usually that means like actively playing with them. He doesn't really like to play very much. He just like runs up and down the stairs. So he likes it there's a laser. Otherwise, he doesn't really. If you get like a mouse or something, mouse toy or something, he'll just like look at you like, what?
Has to be laser.
Yes. Chase that yourself. I'm not doing it. Oh my god! Well, now he's fighting me, asshole.
It's fight o'clock.
It is. It's a wartime.
Let's see. I was gonna talk about my BattleTech, I guess.
Yeah, you got some stuff going on. I'm like
before your phone dies.
So fucking behind. We're on like a third of the battery indicator, so you got a little time.
Ooh, nice.
Talk BattleTech.
Yeah, I was also gonna. It's be kind of an experiment to try a belly cam, basically.
Yeah.
So I was gonna do a bit of show and tell.
For me, belly tattoo.
Yeah, before I get into the pictures, moving pictures, I like the spectacle more than anything else. So if it takes me like 10 years to actually play a game, I don't mind so much. As long as everything looks good when I finally get there. Or at least the way I wanted it to look. I mean, the challenge sometimes is that you change your mind halfway through and then you like just restart like a process.
Yeah, as long as you're not changing your mind about like the color scheme, because then you're like literally back from like square one, right?
Yeah, I've gone through color schemes a couple times.
Everyone has like that box of space points they've gotten off eBay that have gone through like 7 different color schemes, and they didn't get like stripped before any of them.
Oh yeah.
So you like put them in the simple green or whatever, and like the green paint comes off, and it turns out they were ultra range before, and then you strip that, and it turns out they were bloody needles at one point.
Yeah. And then you get down to the enamel finally, and you're like, oh, well, end of the line.
Yeah. Like, I guess they really are Dark Angels forever, because that shit ain't coming off.
I'm glad that you're getting abused by Lancelot there.
Yeah, he is. Now
Bam. All right, I'm out.
He made his point.
Yeah. But the thing for me that helped kind of solidify my project is Battletech Alpha Strike is the game I like the most. I like regular Battletech too, but Battletech Alpha Strike, and then they made the Battletech Aces solo, the beta. So then I had solo rules, so now I can play it at home, having everything look the way I want it to look. And then they released the Hinterlands campaign book, which has a lot of rules for building a Alpha Strike campaign with points and war chests and things. So it could become like a big production. And that really got the ball rolling for me. So all the pieces now are together. So I just want like this solid concept. That's why it's easy to play 5 parsecs. Everything's there. You know, you roll through the ball, like start to finish. But these ones, I had to like take some time to put all the pieces together.
But that's the thing with, especially with BattleTech and Alpha Strike, that it is all these pieces that kind of work. Like you might use only like 3 different of those pieces, and to have whatever like your game happens to be.
Yeah, exactly. So now I got all the things I want, and you start thinking about the environments. The Hinterlands takes out. It's kind of like near the periphery, but not quite out there, in the place where the Jade Falcons used to be in the Ilkon era. So now it's kind of like Wild West. So theme-wise, it's like easy to imagine Badlands. Yeah. And I love Badlands because you can do pretty much like anything in Badlands. You know, you can do fantasy in the Badlands. You can do sci-fi in the Badlands. War in the Badlands, whatever. World War II is in the Badlands. It's kind of a great neutral area. Yeah. So any kind of like terrain projects that you're building on are pretty applicable to more things than just this battle. Yeah. So I've been working on my basing. It's the big first step, and I've been pretty happy with that. I'll flip the camera here, and I will Make
Hey,
us
look at that.
all, and my stomach huge.
Yeah, man.
And let's see. I just got to
What's
zoom
the
it
point of
in.
wearing a Misfits shirt if it's not going to be on camera?
Yeah, exactly. Finally, everyone gets to see it. And if you want to sponsor me with T-shirts, just send them on.
Oh, that is a way we can cash in.
Well, it says it's zoomed, but it's definitely.
It's zoomed in the sense that it's exactly the same as it was before.
I guess that is zoomed as it goes. Okay.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have to kind of show and tell like pretty actively.
I'm gonna bring a few things in. I think once you start putting all the pieces together, it'll tie it in. So here's a big old atlas.
Hey, big boy.
Yeah. So you get like this nice, basing kind of going on. I got, little grass tufts that are way too big, but they don't look too bad, in a sci-fi kind of atmosphere.
I always like the idea of like kind of oversized like plants and stuff for Battletech. Like compared to like a guy standing next to them, they would be like, like person height, but it looks kind of cool. It's like if the war machines are bigger, then like everything is bigger, right?
Yeah, exactly. And alien planets, why not megafauna? Sure.
Yeah.
And so, I got still working on these guys. So my main force is going to be the Banson's Raiders. So they have a nice, kind of contrasting color scheme, but they still will fit nicely with the basing. These guys are Northwind Highlanders. And let's see. Here's some Jade Falcons. So, like when I put them on the tabletop, everything kind of, contrasts and stands out. So they kind of pop against each other, but they still all tie in really nicely because of the basing and, the painting style.
Yeah, I was going to say, since they all have kind of like this almost like dusty look to them, which kind of fits the vibe. And it does mean they like feel like they fit together, even though they have completely different like color schemes and stuff.
Yeah, this guy's not done yet, but these ones were pretty fun to do. I'm gonna bring this one out for a sec. So this one primed black, then dry brushed with a wraith bone, and then up to a white. Because my eyes are starting to get older, so it's a little bit harder to see all the details. And there's actually a pretty good amount of details on these plastics.
Yeah, those plastics are really good, especially if you're like old enough to remember like what Battletech plastics used to look like.
Quite awful. Yes.
Yeah, like they are really short.
Yeah.
I also love how many like large mechs they have started doing now. Because there is something like really satisfying, like a
big ass, chunky like boys.
Like big assault mech or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
They just like.
But they also do really good tiny mechs now too. Which I feel like they didn't do as much of before.
Yeah, they
like
always ran
this
into
locust here.
Because they always ran into the issue of like weapons and some of the parts being like really spindly.
Yeah.
So.
Or even scaling, like a giant mech like an Atlas versus like a tiny mech like a Locust. The size difference wasn't that much, but now I think they really stand out against each other quite well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it really puts into perspective like which one is the scout mech and stuff. This is also a good time to like do a little like PSA of especially if you're building, whether you're building an army and your friend is building an army or you're building two armies together, like make sure to do the bases the same way.
Oh yes.
Or at least like reasonably the same way.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to do the exact same like brand of flock or whatever, but if you're doing grass and he's doing like volcanic rocks, it's gonna look a little shit.
He's on the alien purple world and you're on the lush green forest. Yeah.
And the two apparently meet like right here.
Yeah, that's right. So then I got some. These are all like the GHQ kind of style military stuff, which I think will fill up the tables nicely for the Badlands kind of aspects, but they don't really hide the mechs. I mean, like even the Atlas can kind of see over this.
Oh yeah, he definitely peeks over. You may need to get some like triple story.
Yeah,
but that's also one of those things that sometimes don't come out when playing on like on the hex maps. Like they're supposed to be a disadvantage to like those super big mechs and stuff, right? Yeah,
exactly. So little guys can hide while the big ones, stand out. But now I got these are the Hextech buildings. So I bought one, like they're super expensive, but I wanted to have one reference so that when I get like the 3D printed stuff like this, then I get to kind of use the same colors so I can color reference this guy. They don't match with this kind of 3D printed stuff, which is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's been,
there's so much. Even if you don't have a printer yourself, there's so much stuff out there, like on Etsy and eBay and stuff, where you can just like find some dude who's like printing shit in his garage and have him, you know, churn out a bunch of stuff for you, and
yeah.
without being like real expensive.
And then yeah, so all the colors kind of start tying together nicely too, which
Mhm.
is good. These guys don't really match. I don't think any of
Well,
them
I
in
was
the
just
same area.
thinking because that gives you the chance of like you can do like desert style buildings on like one end of the table, and then like the industrial ones on the other side, or stuff like that. Or you
Yeah.
have the freedom to use one style of buildings, one game, and a different style the next. So it all kind of
Yeah. And I also bought some of the roads too, so
oh
these
nice.
ones match nicely.
Yeah, they look badass.
Yeah, so I think and then as long as you have a mat that is halfway decent,
Hmm.
you could buy like a neoprene one, or even just put a tablecloth down. That's a pretty good color, like a sandy color.
Yeah,
But
like a beige like
yeah,
tablecloth or a bed sheet or something.
yeah.
I don't
But I
know.
have bought like toolbox liner. Also
Hmm.
lays very flat. It's meant to lie flat. It's not meant to curl up when your tools are in there.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you could take those and you can spray paint them, so you can change the coloring.
Hmm.
So it's a pretty cheap and easy way to do
Yeah.
your base, and then you have your all your stuff built up on top of it.
I wonder if you could get because I noticed sometimes they have this like texture paint, which kind of looks like. I think it's intended for like fake granite, like on furniture, like
Oh yeah,
um. So you could possibly take a mat or something and like spray it with that stuff. That might look like super awesome.
yeah, definitely. I think so.
So,
I did do that with one of them actually, and texture
oh,
paint's
okay.
nice that way. Yeah, because you can just like that spray and it just sprays right on. You can do
Mm.
it lightly, so it just adds like a little bit of texture, but not too much, so it won't interfere when you put stuff down.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't want it to
Yeah,
get grungy.
yeah. I guess the only
So
downside for this is that he's walking on Badlands and now he's on a road. But
yeah, there's no way of like avoiding that.
yeah,
The only way is those like clear like acrylic bases people sometimes do, but they always look kind of weird because your
yeah,
mini it ends up like hovering, like and
yeah. I bought some clear acrylics too a long time ago because I thought that's the way I wanted to do it. But in the end, they get scratched
also
up and dusty, and they just don't get clear
yeah.
after a while.
Or if you fuck it up and you get like fog from super glue on them.
All
It's
right.
like models with flight bases on. Like, there's just no way of making them look good.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
You know.
It's doomed.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, the Battlefront ones usually come with bubbles in the stem as well,
Mm.
so that looks real great. I picked these like super cheap little trees because I think they're pretty good Battletech
Yeah.
scale.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'll get
yeah.
them based up next. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're super cheap. These ones. So
Yeah.
not nothing amazing,
Pe-
but they'll
People
fill
always
up the
forget
gaps.
that like trees get really fucking tall.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Trees are huge.
it's funny when you buy like 28 millimeter trees and they are basically like bushes, like in
Yeah,
real
that's right.
size.
Yeah,
Um, So a long time ago, I have like one box of trees that I got super cheap from some Chinese seller, and I just use them for everything, regardless of scale. Like fuck it, they are never in
yeah,
scale anyway. So these are just my model trees.
yeah.
And
And depending where
usually,
you are too, like some trees are bigger in some parts of the world than others.
yeah, it's
Up
actually a
north,
fun
they're smaller.
exercise. I don't think people have to be like super scale nerds, but it's useful like once in your life. Just like set up what a realistic scale table would look like. So figure out like if I'm playing in 28 millimeter, and like one guy is 6 feet tall, right?
Yeah,
Go measure like the road outside your house and see how wide is a road actually like in figure scale. How tall is a house? Like if a pistol could shoot 50 yards, how far is 50 yards? Like down the road. Like it's really quite cool to do. Just to get an idea of like what things really ought to look like.
oh yeah. Or like I remember like Night of the Living Dead, right? They're like trying to fill
Mhm.
up I think they're trying to fill up their truck at a gas station. The zombies are coming,
Yeah,
and like you don't realize until that moment how long things actually take.
yeah.
It's like zombies aren't going very fast, but you still can't do it fast enough.
I have read somewhere, and I've never timed this, that when you watch Aliens, when there's like the countdown towards the end,
Hmm.
that countdown is actually accurate if you um, time it like from when it starts and until the whole thing explodes. But I've never like tested it with like
Oh,
stopwatch.
well, that's
Worth
really
doing.
cool.
Yeah, because you always get in movies where it's like there's 30 seconds till the bomb goes off, and there's 15 minutes left of the movie. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It gets slowed down a little bit.
I guess just to wrap up the project.
Mm-hmm.
These guys. So I took the dry brushing and I've started adding the paints to them. And the paints are all like slightly translucent, of course. Most paints are, unless you get like super opaque paints, which will add a lot of depth. And then you just paint over the panels and you leave the dark parts inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been going through them afterwards with a fountain pen filled with the Tamiya panel liner.
Oh, okay.
And just reinforcing all the panel lines.
So they kind of get like a double because you leave the black like in the gaps to begin with, and then you kind of go back and like double up on it essentially.
Yeah. And these guys have no highlighting. There's no highlighting in them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all just, from the dry brushing and then the not quite opaque paints.
Yeah.
The panel lining depth to it, which is really nice.
Yeah, it really makes them pop. It makes them look way more like three-dimensional.
Yeah, but also kind of cartoony, which I was trying to go for. I want a little bit of a cartoony look to my project.
Yeah, especially for Battletech, like, just make them look a little goofy. Or not goofy, but it's just like, it makes them look vivid. Like, the artwork often has that, like, quality to it.
Yeah. I tried a bunch of different styles. Like this tank here, I don't know if we can see all that well, is contrast paints. So it's just...
okay.
I think these ones were, like, straight up, like, like a off-white color with the contrast put on top. And, like, maybe a little dry brush afterwards. And they do pop really nicely, but when you get something big like this, it just kind of like fades off.
Yeah, there's kind of a fine balance for contrast, especially with some of those large figures with like big flat plates on them.
Yeah, but it is really nice and quick doing it this way because you just put the one contrast on, then you put the darker one in like break pattern lines, and then you got a cool
basically done.
Tank.
Are you gonna try to do any of the tanks with camo?
Yeah, just like this. So this one just has like the green pattern there.
Oh,
I'll just leave it as that.
Yeah.
Because the more camo you put on, the less it looks like a miniature, and the more it looks like camouflaged.
I've always seen the tip that you basically have to paint camouflage so that it's like way too large compared to what it would really be, because otherwise it'll either make your mini blend in or it'll just look like a weird muddled like mess. So, like, if you're painting, like, camouflage on, like, a dude's trousers or something, just paint, like, 2 or 3 big splotches, even though, realistically, you would have, like, a billion, like, little dots and things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I think the chip camo, I think, works really well.
Yeah.
Because it has, like, a lot of nice contrast to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it keeps, like, the details popped.
Yeah. And you have to make it kind of look... And that's the general thing for like small figures too. You kind of want to like exaggerate like more bold colors than you might normally do for a larger figure and stuff like that. Because otherwise, it's so easy for it to just become like a muddled mess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think to wrap up my project, painting wise, so I want to have like a few varieties for enemies. It's kind of like you think about your 5 parsecs project. You want to have like certain groups of dudes that can represent certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And in Battletech, you have like a lot of mechs that kind of be shared throughout different factions. So the one like, generic camouflage pattern for like very common mechs makes it very versatile to build. Like no matter who you're fighting, they could be represented by these mechs. But also it's nice to kind of have like a main enemy sort of things, like a Clan Jade Falcon makes for a very good focal point. So
yeah.
When you're fighting the Jade Falcons, it's kind of special because they have their own color scheme.
Yeah, well, and especially with Battletech, because like I know you can do the thing where it's like, okay, this unit specifically uses these mechs between 3025 and 3029, but like a lot of times you're just kind of like buying mechs you like, and then you're choosing like which army they are or which like mercenary unit or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So having them like, but it's also a way you can kind of like build your own like identity for them, because like you're picking specific mechs for your Jade Falcons. So, when you play with these guys, the Jade Falcons will have like this particular style because you picked a bunch of mechs that have like certain weapons. Or
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
So you can kind of like create them like to be distinct or give them character.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important thing for when you start like a wargaming is to really go with an aesthetic. I think more than anything else. Like the people, sometimes rule of cool is all you have because you don't know the rules well enough.
Yeah, and sometimes the rules change anyway.
Yeah, Nothing's gonna,
So,
especially Warhammer. Nothing will be constant. The things you
yeah,
buy now, you might not be able to play with later anyway. So you might as well have liked
yeah,
them.
yeah. Go with the vibes.
Yeah, which is why I think when we're talking earlier about the lack of conversions in 40K, I think it's because
Hmm.
people just don't really have the time and energy to put into that kind of project, and knowing that it's very finite.
Yeah. Plus, you also get a lot of people who are like, because you'll see all the time, like a new codex comes out, a new edition, or something. People are like, now it turns out that like Necrons are 3% stronger, so people
Yeah,
like eBay their armies and buy new ones. So they're kind of not putting like that much effort into them
yeah. The more you make
because
them look unique, the less they sell. So
yeah. You want to have them like if you have your like Hello Kitty Necron army, that's going to be a little difficult to sell for somebody who just wants like a tournament army.
hmm yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of a but then you have the weirdos on the internet, like the Inquisitor 20 guys and stuff like that, that are kind of holding up the opposite end of that.
yeah. But they also have stable rules, so that helps a lot.
Hmm.
Things aren't really changing there, I don't think. I mean, I've never actually read it, so I'm just making assumptions. But
Yeah, it's honestly, I mean, it's just Inquisitor, but like most of those dudes don't play games anyway. They're just like building and converting stuff to like
yeah,
look and post and talk about, which is fine. Like that's its own hobby. It's like the old Hammer guys. Like in theory, their games don't change, but they also aren't really like, throwing down a lot of games.
yeah,
Like
3 times a year sort of thing.
yeah. The rest of it is just like eBaying for Space Marine, painting up, trying to find like that one original land speeder, stuff like that.
Ooh, it's a hard one to get.
Yeah, they are not real common.
I've never
I,
seen it out in the wild.
I have seen one, and that was at a tournament, and it was a guy who very obviously like has kept the same army basically like 3 editions in a row at that time. But that's the only time I've ever seen. I've never even seen one show up on eBay.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to get. I got like the
Yeah,
second run of the metal. It's like a giant chunk of metal. It's just on a flight
yeah, I
stand.
remember that one where it had like
So,
the raised like armored front to it.
yeah, like it's really cool. It's like a Corvette of land
Yeah, I
speeders.
remember that's the one that was around when I started. But I remember like seeing in the rule book, it was like the original one, which does like a couch
Yeah,
with
yeah,
like
exactly. A
a
prong.
flamethrower. Yeah, which I'm sure is not like a militarily savvy vehicle, but it looked cool.
Well, it's like
So
the baby Bjorn Warwalker from the Eldar. You just
yeah,
sitting there on a seat right in front of everything.
yes. All right, my phone is definitely coming down to its time limit, but we also managed to keep going for like an hour and 15 minutes. So
Yeah. Thanks everyone who chatted. I
yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it. We
you.
don't necessarily read out everything, but we
Yeah,
I glance at
well,
it at least. And yeah, so we'll wrap things up. Next
yeah, we'll be
show
back in
will be
couple of weeks.
25th, I think.
Yeah, and the topic will be even more exciting. Sometimes we're pretty well prepared. This was not one of those. So, but we kind of go. We have like episodes where it's like very free ranging and we just kind of shooting the breeze. We have episodes where it's more focused and like a very specific topic we talk about. Sometimes we even have a guest.
Mhm.
Thank you, Zero. It's a great show. So
Oh,
that
thank
is
you
what
so
I
much.
like about a loyal customer. They're willing to lie and say it was good.
That's right. Keep it coming. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care.
Peace.
Peace. Hearts.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode of Bad Internet Friends was streamed live on YouTube and Twitch. There is a North American friendly live stream every second Wednesday of the month and a European friendly live stream every fourth Monday of the month.